Pixels ready? Snacks secured. Let's jump into this next demo dive. Hold on to your little antennas, Kritter fans. We've been deep in the trenches on this alien habitat, munching on resources and bravely, if sometimes awkwardly, defending our fallen ship, the M-Ark. I've spent countless hours navigating the chaos, and honestly, my Kritter squad is absolutely buzzing. This is Kritter Defend Together, and after countless runs, we're ready to share the juicy loot and the cute little quirks of this roguelike based defense gem.
You can still rely on your killing robot inspired to terminate enemies rapidly. Kritter.
Kritter is where cute meets catastrophic. Your squad of tiny biobots tasked with turning a crash site into a fortress, all while fending off waves of very enthusiastic local fauna. Core loop is simple. Drop in, gather resources, build defenses, survive the night, and try not to let the M-Ark's core integrity drop to zero. It's got the just one more run DNA of a roguelike, the satisfying turret placement of a tower defense, and the snappy movement of a top-down action title. It's a proper, well-executed genre mashup. This isn't just a quick look, this is our full deep dive run. And honestly, Kritter totally deserves the time spent working on this because it's absolutely packed with satisfying mechanics and persistent progression systems. I loved playing this game. It was a lot of fun. Celebrate why the co-op synergy is S-tier game design, discuss how the early game resource hunt is a major difficulty spike that tests your commitment, and look at all the little design choices that give Kritter its unique personality. Spoiler alert though, the core loop is incredibly sticky, but it definitely asks you to invest some time before it gives up the goods. Grab a snack, settle in, because it's time to roll. Let's talk about Kritter feet on the ground. The moment-to-moment combat is the foundation of the experience, and generally it feels good. The movement is quick and the dash is butter smooth, crucial for dodging those massive AoE attacks. Each Kritter class feels fundamentally different. The Zapper class, for example, is all about the quick burst and high mobility. However, if you roll with the tanky Kritter, you'll notice a wonderfully deliberate pace. This Kritter isn't sluggish, it's just very tactical. You have to respect your ability cooldowns and positioning way more. It's not a flaw, it's an international challenge for melee players. It makes team competition feel more meaningful, but I do think the numbers on certain melee skills could use a small buff to help them scale until late game a bit better. Now, the roguelike element is driven by the upgrade card system, and this is a deck builder's dream. One of my favorites, to be honest. Every run, you get a new chance to combine permanent meta upgrades with temporary run-specific power boosts. When you get that perfect synergy, like a card boost damage after every dash or something, paired with a card that resets your dash cooldown, you feel like an absolute god. It's a true power fantasy, but let's be real. Not every run is perfect. Sometimes the RNG offers you a selection of cards that are currently low tier or extremely niche. This isn't the system being mean, it's just presenting a spicy challenge, asking you to make the most out of what you've got. It forces you to adapt your playstyle, and frankly, that's just the magic of the genre. You learn to spot the situational sleeper picks and hidden in the common card pile. Let's shift gears to the defense part of Defend Together. The base building is the strategic backbone of the game. It's a great check on your management skills. You can't just rely on your shooting. You must build walls, turrets, and mines. Early barriers can feel a little bit like a paper mache against a charging boss anyway, which means you're constantly prioritizing where to spend your scarce resources. This is high stakes optimization. Building a funnel for the enemy waves and watching your automated turrets shred them is peak satisfaction. The difference between success and failure often comes down to when and where you commit your build resources. Pro tip, don't forget to upgrade your walls, like I did. They start as early game scaffolding, but with a few tiers of investment, they become serious deterrents. The M-Ark Hub is your favorite home. This is where the meta progression happens. Every run, win or lose, you collect permanent resources that feed back into unlocking new critters, passive stat bonuses, and new card tiers. Now, I have to be honest, unlocking the next tier of critter classes is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. It asks for a long-term investment. This design choice really respects your playtime though, because you finally unlock that passive permanent upgrade. It feels huge. It's a system designed to give you that rewarding sense of hard-won progress over dozens of hours, not just in one night. If you're not into deep meta progression, just know you'll be seeing the same starting hub for a while. This brings us to the resource economy. Early on, the game gives you that genuine scrappy survivor vibe. You'll need to be laser focused on your farming route, as materials are a scarce treasured resource. Costs for upgrades feel high and your income feels low. For new players, this can feel like a steep hill. However, I think it's a neat design choice that enforces meaningful scarcity. You can't cheese the system, you have to earn your power. Once you get past the first major tier of unlocks, the income finally catches up to the cost, and the progression smooths out nicely. It's not grindy in the worst sense, it just requires patience and focused effort to overcome the early game resource hurdle. Let's talk about the baddies. The enemies here are just bursting with personalities. While some early creatures are just cannon fodder practice, the late game bosses and wave compositions forces you to entirely rebuild your strategy. You'll encounter borrowing bugs, flying pests, and massive shield-bearing juggernauts, by the way. New enemies often require a new approach, like the creatures that disable your turrets, forcing you to go on the offensive. The different biomes are also beautiful and distinct, though navigating the sludge swamp biome can feel a bit sticky and slow. I think a little more visual variety in the basic enemy types across biomes would be great, but overall, the challenge stays fresh. This is the secret sauce, guys. This is where Kritter unlocks its true form. Co-op is mandatory for maximum fun. The developers truly built the mechanics to encourage teamwork. Think about it. While one player is running off to scout for resources and clear immediate threats, the other player can stay back near the M arc and focus on the base, mom duty, if you will, building defenses and managing repairs. The division of labor is a strategic feast. You and your friends can coordinate car builds. A dedicated healer and a pure DPS critter can create fantastic synergy. The difficulty scales nicely with more players, so it never feels overwhelming, just strategically complex. This is a 5-star co-op experience. Performance-wise, the technical side of the co-op is solid. The netcode is reliable. We had a few instances of time hiccups during the absolute heaviest wave spawns, especially when there were 4 players building dozens of structures, but overall, it's a smooth ride. No major disconnects or game-breaking bugs to report here. The devs clearly put in the work to keep multiplayer feeling clean and responsive, which is critical for a game that relies so heavily on real-time defense. Quality of life features for co-op are great too. The ping system is adorable and functional. You don't need voice comms to coordinate, which is a big plus if you're playing with strangers or if you just don't want to chat. It's easy to mark the priority targets or quickly tell your buddy, hey, the resource node is over here. Come farm up. The menus are clear and inviting friends is a breeze. Every design choice here encourages teamwork without forcing clunky external communication. Aesthetically, the game is such a vibe. The art is charming and unique. It looks like a playable Saturday morning cartoon with a great particle effects. The sound design is punchy, giving those big turrets a satisfying thump. The music is catchy. It has these great energetic tracks that you get hyped for the defense phase. I will say, however, it loops a little too enthusiastically on longer runs, so don't be afraid to switch it up or throw on your own tune sometimes, but overall the presentation is a strong part of the package. The lore is another delightful side dish here. It slowly dripped into the runs through terminals and item descriptions, giving the M arc crash a cool, mysterious backstory. And I will say, the voice lines are hilarious to me anyways. You're not being hit over the head with cutscenes, but the story gives you just enough context to care about your desperate fight for survival. It asks the fun question, what exactly were the critters engineered for? And what happened to the ship? It's not an in-your-face narrative. Ambient storytelling is a treat for those who like to hunt secrets. Right, so where does that leave us? Let's recap the loot and the spikes. The loot, we have killer co-op design, deep build customization, charming art, and a sticky meta progression loop that keeps you coming back for more. The spikes, areas for polish, if you will. The early game resource demands are high, creating a temporary barrier to entry. Some critter builds need a small numerical buff for better class parity. The overall progression asks for patience. The future, I guess, progression plans, if you will. This is a fantastic base for developers to build on. A few patches focusing on smoothing the early difficulty and buffing a few niche card sets would take this game to the next level. My final word would be, if you love a cozy, challenging roguelite, and especially if you have a reliable co-op partner, you're going to get so much out of Kritter. If you prefer instant gratification, just know this game asks you to invest some time before it really pays off. But the payoff is worth it. The potential here is massive, and the fun is guaranteed if you bring a friend. My final score for Kritter Defend Together on Steam is a very enthusiastic 8.5 out of 10. Go get your Kritter on. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite Kritter class and card build combination. Thanks for watching. Bye.